Welcome back to The Inspired Entrepreneur with Heather Hope. Hey there, everyone. It's Heather Hope. Welcome back to The Inspired Entrepreneur. Okay, so as soon as I clicked record, my computer starts making a big racket. It's really funny. So, how are you guys doing? I think today is, forgive me for never knowing what day it is. It's what happens when you don't pay attention to the date. I think it's Veterans Day. So happy Veterans Day. And it is Wednesday, November 11th. So it's 11/11/2020. Isn't that cool? Okay, so let's jump into it. Let me grab my book. I'm doing the last finishing touches on the book, and then it's going to be released. It might be next week if I think about it. Okay, so I'm going to jump right in. If you're new here, welcome. This is a daily podcast, and it goes day by day from my book that I have written called The Inspired Entrepreneur, and it's 366 days of inspiration for the entrepreneur, for the self-employed, for the business owner, all based on the law of attraction from Abraham Hicks, Bashar, Sanaya Roman, all of source, basically. Okay, and they're short and sweet messages every day. And it'll be in print for your enjoyment to put it on your desk or your shelf. And it's going to be really pretty. It's going to be a really pretty cover. Okay, let's jump into it. Today is just a quote from Abraham, which is pretty cool. So today is, anything that you give your attention to without contradiction is going to be a very fast manifestation for you. Okay, literally, this is what is probably the most common issue. I don't like using that word, but it kind of comes to my mind when I read this quote, because anything you put your attention to. So I tell everybody, your focus, your attention, like your actual attention, however you apply your attention, your focus, your eyeballs, your thoughts, your words, that's what attention focus is. What you've got your eyes looking at, your ears listening to, your mouth talking about, and your mind thinking about. That's pretty good, huh? That's what your focus is. That's what your attention is. Whatever all of those are playing, doing, saying, hearing, thinking, all of that is what your attention is. I've never said it that way either. That's interesting. It's like all your senses in your mind. Whatever all of that is on is what you're attracting like a magnet. That's it. So if you do all of that, whatever the subject is, without contradiction, you will manifest very quickly. Okay, so contradiction. That's like my whole business is contradiction of helping my clients stop, basically, not overcome, not letting go. Well, letting go I use a lot, but you know what I mean? Like stop. Like I think it is as easy, pretty much as easy as stopping. So when I find myself thinking of something, I will stop. I don't have to like let it go or do some process or anything like that. It is that easy. I think there's a whole lot of people out there that try to make things harder than it is because they themselves think it's harder. Like it's hard to do things. So there must be, 10-page processes of how to release a negative thought. No, it's not. It's just, no. It's correcting it in the moment and focusing on something else. It's really a lot easier than almost everybody makes it out to be. So anything that you give your attention to, all of that we've talked about, without contradiction. So one of the biggest things is like when you think about something that you want, and then you think of like, you could immediately think of a reason why You can't have it. That's a contradiction. So, say you want a job. Say you want a new job. And you have a friend that got a really cool job. And you're like, "Oh my gosh, that's so awesome. That'd be such a fun job." Right? Okay, that's going good. That's a really good thought to have. That's in alignment with what your inner being is thinking. That job's really cool. It's really awesome. That looks like fun. Oh my God, oh my God, that's so awesome. But I can't do that job. I wouldn't get hired. I don't have the experience. I don't blah, 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 blah. That's contradiction. That's contradiction. That's the contradicting thoughts. Right? So the first part is always the good stuff, typically. I mean, if it's something that is exciting to you and looks like fun or whatever, right? That's the lining up part. That's the part to do. Okay, so when I get out of a call with a client and they tell me this stuff, like, oh, blah, 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 all good, right? But there's always a but. Abraham says this too. But blah, 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 blah. All the reasons why they can't do it or have it or manifest it or whatever it is, right? And I stop them and I'm like, okay, so here's a trick. Stop with the but, obviously, but get rid of the comma. Get rid of the comma. I would really like this because it's really fun and exciting and awesome stuff, right? Comma, but I can't have all this because I suck and blah, 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 right? All that negative thinking. So I tell my clients to stop with the comma and put a period there and end that freaking sentence and move on. That's literally what I do. That's what I do, and that's what I tell my clients to do because that's how to do it. You line up with what you want, period, and then you move on. Line up with what you want, period. No buts. Stop with the freaking buts. It's annoying. Tell me, it's annoying. Let me tell you, as a coach, let me know if you're a coach. I've been saying this a lot. I know other people who are coaches, like hire, like they have audiences of thousands. They're not in the coaching world, like in the spiritual coaching world or anything. But I hear them. I hear their frustration with all the things that their clients tell them of all the excuses and why and blah, blah, blah. And it's like most of the time they don't take what you tell them to do anyway. It's really funny. But you have to stop with the excuses. You have to stop with the reasons why. Now, my husband and I were talking about this. We, how we are. We have a lot of banter and back and forth, and it's a lot of fun. And he said something, and I'm like, "No, stop with the excuses." He's not that type of guy either. He gives very little excuses, but I think he was being funny or sarcastic, and I'm like, no, stop with the excuses. Like, there's nothing more that's more annoying to me now is excuses. Like, literally. It's because if you really want something, you'll go for it. You'll line up with it. You'll find a way. You'll take the action. I've learned that in my life. When I really want something, I will move towards it. I will do some things to get me going in that direction. I will take the action. And as I take the action, I'm like, oh yeah, because I'm a lazy person. I'm not as lazy as I used to be. That is for certain. That's for sure. But you know what I mean? Like I can get kind of like blah. And then I'm like, oh God, I have such a boring life. And then I'm like, well, there's all these other things I really want. So all I have to do is take a little bit of action, put my focus on it in some way, and then I'm going. I'm rolling. I'm working towards things and filling my time with things that I am enjoying. So I told him, I'm like, no more excuses. And he's like, no, they're reasons. I'm like, no, they're the same. I argue that all the time, that reasons are the same as excuses. But okay, so going back to the quote, you put your focus on what you want, right? And then you put a period at the end of that sentence, like, I really, oh gosh, you know what? I really love, let me think. I really love Teslas. I was just thinking about cars. I really love Teslas. There's a car down the street. It's been for sale for a couple of weeks now, and I've had my eye on it. We keep calling it, because Gizmo goes with me all the time in the car. Every day we take a drive, a couple drives. And I'm like, there's mommy's new car. And it's really pretty. It's kind of like a tealish blue. I don't know what color it is, but it's a Porsche Cayenne. A Porsche Cayenne is actually what Roger wants, my husband. And so I've been looking at it and I'm like, I'm not really in the market to buy a car right now because I've got other things that I'm doing. And we've got 4 cars here as it is that need to find homes. So I'm like, the last thing I need at this moment is a car. But, it's all perfect timing. So we'll see. It wasn't out there today. But so when I look at, if I really wanted that car right now, it's like, it's pretty. I'm appreciating it from afar. Like, that's how I am. Because it's like, yeah, that'd be cool. I'm being kind of nonchalant with that car. Like, if it's mine, it's mine. If it's not, it's not really a knowing that, oh my God, that's my car. It's more like, oh, that'd be pretty cool. God, it's got so much room inside because I looked at it and it's really pretty. And it's on the list of cars that we would like. So that's cool. And it's a really good price and all that stuff. And I'm like, well, we'll see. If it's the right timing, then it'll be ours. If it's not, then it's not a big deal at all, because, you know, the universe will allow the perfect timing. So, but I don't think about, like, all of that is just my understanding of law of attraction and the universe. It's not like, oh, I can't do it right now because I don't have the money for it. It's not, oh, I've got 4 cars. Like, I did say that, but I kind of think, I don't really, I don't know if we need it right now. No, actually, that's not true. I do need a bigger car. That is true. And it has been on my mind. So, but it's not this strong urge to go really get serious about it yet. Anyway, and if it is, it is. If it's not, it is. What it could be doing very well is launching a desire of, yes, you do need a bigger car right now. Yes, an SUV would be helpful right now, sort of thing. And it may not be this one, but it could be the next one when we move down to Scottsdale. It could be down there. It could be when we get settled. I don't know. But it could be just giving me the idea of, like, oh yeah, it is actually a good time to get an SUV. I actually really do need one right now. Now that I talk about it. But what I could do is put my more attention on it. I could and just see without any expectation. Now, I learned about expectation more from Bashar. I understood it a lot more. I could put my attention on, I appreciate it. We call it mommy's new car, those little things. And I'm like, cool. If it is, it is. If it isn't, the next one will be, or whatever. Or maybe it's just giving me the thought. I don't know. But I could play with it. I could play with the idea just for fun. It's not out there today, so we'll see when I go back out there. Anyway, besides any of that, anything you give your attention to without contradiction, a lot of times it's with very little thought about it. Have you ever manifested things that you barely gave a thought to? I do it all the time because there's no contradiction. It's pretty cool. The more you start thinking about something, the more you want something, the more that you, like, really, really need something. That's where the resistance comes in, because it's like it comes with all this baggage. So we'll see. So a lot of times anymore, I become more nonchalant with most everything. It's kind of like playing hard to get, but not being hard to get. Does that make sense? Kind of like when you're dating And like the person who is like, yeah, whatever, like a guy who's just like, whatever, doesn't really care too much, is the guy that gets all the girls because there's no resistant energy there. But the guy who is like desperate for a girlfriend and trying to hit up on hit up on all these girls, they're just like, no, get off me. I tell my husband this too. I had to teach him how how his energy repels me sometimes. Now that sounds really bad, but you know what I mean? Like, let me know if you have a spouse that would love to be like next to you, holding your hand, all of that, like 24/7. That's my husband. He just loves to be around me and loves to, like, he would hold my hand 24/7 if he could. He would give me hugs and kisses all day long if he could. All day long. And me, I am such like, I have like almost like a cat personality of like, I need my space, you need to go. So we have a lot of fun with that. But like, I'm that person that is like, so I'm an only child. I'm an introvert. I love being alone. I love it. I love it. I've always been by myself. So I am so consumed in my, like what they say, like inner world as that type of person, that when somebody comes into my space, I get kind of annoyed because I'm like, I'm lost in my inner world. You need to go. So, but my husband is the opposite, and he would love to spend every moment with me. And so sometimes he really wants that, and I can feel it, I can sense it, I can see it. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I get annoyed because it's like it feels like somebody really wants something from me, and I'm like, no. So anyway, so the person who, and me, so I'm over here like being all nonchalant, not needing anybody, being all cool and chill, and he wants me even more. So it's pretty funny. And I told him I've taught him a little bit of like how to be more like me, and I said, I swear to God, I swear, if you just chill for a while, he had to chill for a while, for days, I would say. He had to chill. Like, don't be all needy. That's what I tell him. Don't be all needy. And I swear to God, I will come to you. And after a few days of kind of playing that off, playing that maybe a couple days, I do come to him. I do, because it's like without that kind of what I call needy energy, then it's more attractive. Then I could come to him. He attracts me because he's not needy. He doesn't have that, what do we call desperate energy, which sounds like desperate sounds like pretty heavy word. It sounds like a very, but when you really want to be next to somebody and hold them and touch them and be with them because you really like them or attracted to them or love them, right? It's like you want it. And so anyway, it does work. When you chill out, it works. And it's the same thing with everything. It's the same thing. So we talk about love and relationships. It's the same exact thing for money. When you don't need it as much, when you're not desperate, it will come. It's the same with clients. When you're not desperate, when you're playing the chill, nonchalant game of not really needing it, like the need, right? When you really need a client to pay your bills, how often do they show up? For me, I don't think they've ever shown up. I don't think it's ever happened. It doesn't work that way. So it's the same thing for everything. When you need it less, like that need, that when you need it less, it'll show up because you've let go of that needy, desperate energy. And that's it. So anything that you give your attention to without contradiction, without the buts, without the negative self-talk, without the excuses, the reasons, whatever you want to call them, if you just say, I really like this car, it's pretty, it goes fast, it's pretty nice, oh, it's pretty cool, period, change the subject. That's it. Without like, oh my God, my car is a wreck and gosh, my car breaks down all the time. I don't want to say that. my car's awesome. I just talked about it yesterday, right? How, or one of these days, how I love my car. It goes really fast. It's very, very reliable. It's a really awesome car. It looks brand new and it's like several years old. So, it's like I love my car. The only reason why I would want that car out that's sitting out there is because it's bigger. And I actually do need more space right now. Like right now in life, I 100% need more space. So it's sitting out there. We'll see. I don't know. I have zero attachment to it, really. It's just like, okay, well, it could come now. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to let you go. Just get rid of the buts, get rid of that comma in that sentence that you're thinking, and just put a period there. Keep it all positive and appreciative, and put a period and move on. Move on. Don't go any further with it, because the further you go with stuff, the more likely you're going to end up in the negative side, because it's just more of a habit for most people. So anyway, with that, I'm going to let you go. Have a good rest of your Veterans Day, and I will talk to you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.